Hey yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy Aceox, and I'm back with another reaction. That's right, this time I'm going to react to Nostalgic Horror, Making Your Memories Scary by Crescendex. Yes, we're reacting to another video by Crescendex. This one is 2 years old, and I think, according to his comment, it's one of his first videos, and apparently he does not look too fondly back at them. I want to check this out because I wonder what he's going to talk about. Nostalgia combined with horror, or like horror nostalgia. Which one could it be? I don't know. Let's find out, right? But before we do, like always, go into the video description, click the first link in the video description under the credits tab to get to the original video by Crescendex. Leave him a like, leave him a comment, tell him, watch out, dude! The Herobrine's gonna go get you, man! He's gonna plant some trees without leaves! You don't want that to happen! Don't make him angry, please! I'm begging you! Tell him that, and obviously subscribe to him. He makes some good videos, we already know that by now, so give the man your support. Alright, I scrolled up, I zoomed out, so without further ado, here we go! Minecraft.
Images like these make me feel an immense amount of nostalgia and probably make me feel the same way. All those nights spent playing Minecraft, not worrying about anything, just having fun. Of course, we feel happy that our childhood stuff. We got to experience all these things that now give us nostalgia, but on the other hand, we feel sadness that we'll never go back to those memories ever again.
Yeah,
childhood,
unfortunately,
are now in the past, forever a part of our history. In recent years, however, nostalgia has embedded itself into pop culture, with YouTube videos about 90s, 2000s, and 2010s nostalgia getting millions of views. Something about looking back on our past seems to fascinate us. This retrospect into our childhood can be bittersweet. These videos and nostalgic media in general can make you feel melancholic. They make you smile, laugh, cry, and sometimes they can be used to scare you. If you've been on YouTube for a amount of time, you probably have been recommended one of these videos. They're a little different from the typical 2010s nostalgia videos. They focus on old Minecraft or memories from your childhood. Yet, instead of looking at them through a melancholic lens, they choose to focus on the slight unease you feel while viewing
the liminal stuff.
They put vignettes around the imagery, they play a slower version of the nostalgic background music, they have weirdly creepy titles, and most importantly, they use more striking imagery. Clearly, this nostalgia isn't meant to be happy or sad. It's meant to scare you. People have taken these slightly...
Well, I wouldn't say scare, but I'd say it's probably something around unnerving or weird you out. Like, you know, the whole point of the liminal spaces are, you know, it just feels off. It feels weird. It feels kind of creepy, kind of spooky, but also it seems familiar. And with these pictures, I think that's the feeling they're trying to evoke in the person seeing this. At least that's what I get from them. I'm not really scared of them, but they feel off. You know, they feel off, they feel not quite right. Something feels fishy, weird, strange even, and kind of creepy, you know, with the filters on and the low quality. And before we saw the old textures in Minecraft, it gives off a feeling of nostalgia on one part. I grew up with the alpha version of Minecraft, so I was already, what was I, 16, 15, maybe even 14, maybe all the way down there. But yeah, I was already quite old at that time. But yeah, the alpha version were the first versions I played of Minecraft, and just I really love the old textures. They're so out of place nowadays, you know, that they feel completely wrong and out of place, but I know them by heart, so there's also this nostalgic feeling I have for them. For example, like the lime green, extremely bright green grass texture in the very first versions of the alpha version in Minecraft, or the cobblestone texture. But yeah, if you put them into the game nowadays, it looks wrong. It even looked wrong back in the day, sort of. Yeah, mostly the cobblestone texture, because it was so big, you know, big and rough, while everything else was more conforming to the same style, while the cobblestone texture was just really out of place. But I liked it. I loved it. You saw so much of it because everyone used cobblestone to build stuff back in the day. That was, yeah, I love it. But seeing this, especially the empty worlds, no mobs, no animals, kind of off-center stuff like we saw before, or just above the clouds and stuff like that, gives off an empty, lost, forgotten, abandoned feeling. It's basically the feeling I get whenever I go back to the alpha version in the Minecraft launcher. You know, I set it to one of the alpha versions and then play in it for a couple of hours and then switch back to the latest build. But yeah, it gives me the same feeling, you know, like I am definitely alone in this world. Not just because it's single player, I'm playing it single player, but because this game does not exist anymore in that way it's presented in the alpha version. And that gives me is a really, I want to say liminal feeling, but I think it's more like a empty feeling, you know, like I feel empty. And that can be quite a creepy feeling. It's not really scary, not really spooky, you know, like, ooh, ghosts or ooh, spooky dark caves. It's more like, damn, this is a dead world in a dead game from a time that's no longer a part of reality or a part of, you know, present day. It's in the past. It's a weird feeling, but I love it. I love this feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but I have that feeling every now and then in the real world as well. When I realize I'm alone, everything is quiet, and then suddenly I get this tickle, you know, this tickling feeling somewhere in my body. Like I can't really describe it. It's like it's in my teeth. It's kind of in my heart or lungs, and it's definitely not a physical thing like a sickness or something. It happens only when I realize, damn, I'm alone right now. It can happen, you know, during the night when everyone is asleep, or during the day when everyone is at work and I'm sitting around and it's quiet, and then I get this feeling, this really, it's not uncomfortable, but it's also not comfortable feeling, you know. It's a very weird but somewhat enjoyable feeling, and that's the alpha versions of Minecraft and beta versions, as well as the screenshots and old videos of old Minecraft, give me the similar feeling, not the same. It's a similar feeling, but yeah, I like it, but it also kind of creeps me out. That's all I'm trying to say. Damn, it took me so long to get to this point. I like it, but it also creeps me out. Damn, AceoX, damn.
The uneasy feelings from reminiscing on nostalgic memories and
the old lava textures.
The most prevalent example being the analog horror scene. People like Alex Kister and Martin Walls have had
the VHS aesthetics, 80s aesthetics, all that stuff.
Analog horror, with its old VHS-like static and nods to the 90s, is meant to tap into...
Hold on, I just realized something. I'm in the way. There it is! Now it's gone. My wings are in the way. Hold on, look at this. Do you see this? Do you see this up there? In the corner? Back there, Crescendex didn't activate Windows. Why? Crescendex, why? I caught on to that. Because I was like, hold on, I activated Windows. Why is it in English? It took me a while, but yeah, I see it now. I see that now. You can't unsee it as well if I wasn't in the way, but I am, so you can unsee it because you cannot see it. Damn. But yeah, I just wanted to point it out. It felt strange seeing that and having the disconnect of knowing that I activated Windows and that my Windows installation is in German, so that something did not make sense, and I figured it out, and I wanted to share that revelation with you so you can feel superior than me, because you don't give a fuck, but I do.
Our sense of nostalgia and scare us. But as time passes, our collective memories shift to a more recent era. The nostalgia we once had for the 90s is now being
Tamagotchi
for the late 2000s and early 2010s. This shift in nostalgia has led to the rise of a new genre known as digital horror. Creators like Old Minecraft Reupload, Brandon Works, and Gunslinger Pro 2009 have started popping up to fill this new genre of nostalgic horror, using the aesthetics and technology of the early days of the internet to tell an unsettling story. These videos make you think about your own experiences playing these games.
I only heard of analog horror, so this is completely new to me.
Nostalgic horror does a thing that no other form of horror can ever do. Sure, Alien was scary, but you hardly ever found it relatable. With nostalgic horror, you can relate this stuff to your own experiences. What if something was actually haunting you in your old Minecraft world? Or what if the Gmod ragdolls you were constantly playing around with were actually alive? Nostalgic horror...
That's a weird feeling.
...can only be answered by looking back at your past. And this retrospect into your past can often be disturbing, as now you're looking at it through a different lens. It's the same thing with gaming. Many people have made successful horror games using PS1 era graphics. Visuals not only give people who played video games around that time a sense of nostalgic dread, but they also make the game itself scarier. For example, the original Silent Hill's famous fog came from the PS1 not having very good render distance. Despite the classic Silent Hill fog coming from uncooperative hardware, it instantly became a staple of those games. As you probably heard time and time again.
I don't know which video it was, but I recently talked about that exact thing. The textures and everything in the old consoles, especially PS1 and PS2, are perfect for horror. Because the textures are just grungy and dirty, and the limitations the consoles impose on the games on the games of the time really add to the horror experience in general. And now with the limitations pretty much being gone, you can definitely tell that there is a shift happened, you know, where the textures added to the horror back in the day, they don't really anymore, because everything is more realistic nowadays. There aren't that many limitations to work with, so you don't have to work around stuff and accidentally create like an aesthetic like the Silent Hill fog aesthetic. And with everything being realistic and everything, if you look at the texture just from this frame, look at the texture on the wall, you know, the brick texture. You don't see textures like that anymore because it's not realistic. Have you ever in real life seen a brick wall this dirty? I've seen a lot of dirty walls, but never to this degree. Maybe you did, I don't know. I didn't. So and I feel like that's why modern games nowadays, they don't look scary, while the old games really had a lot more ways to unsettle you than the gameplay stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, and that's why I missed this period of gaming, the time period, because back then, just look at a screenshot of Silent Hill 1 on the PS1 during the Otherworld segment. That shit looks terrifying, flashy and rusty, and you can't really make out half of what the hell it is you're looking at. And then you look at more modern horror games, and everything is very apparent. Everything is something you've already seen a million times in actual life, you know, dusty, decrepit stuff, but nothing to this degree, this grungy, really over-the-top aesthetic. So yeah, that's why I miss old horror games. I think the old consoles were actually perfect with all the limitations for horror games to shine, to really give you an unnerving feeling just from the look alone. And that's unfortunately kind of lost with technology advancing further and further. And of course, games try to emulate that feeling, but I always feel like those games never really nail the aesthetic look of the PS1 and PS2. They can get quite close, but never really, they can't seem to really get it right either. So yeah, I missed that time. I just wanted to relitigate this point I made in another video because it fits a lot better in here. So yeah, it was the Wii Balance Board horror game. That's what, that's where I talked about that. I just remembered. All right, let's continue.
Constraints inspire creativity. People have started embracing the older style of horror games.
I know, I just pause and unpause and now pause again. That's how I live by, you know, by that motto. You know, this view I have on things. Too many options. It's like George Carlin once said. Too many options. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. Yeah, and this is very apparent with pretty much everything on the internet. Do you have an endless amount of movies to watch, an endless amount of videos to watch, an endless amount of music to listen to, an endless amount of games to play, an endless amount to read anything. And are you using it? Are you using it? I don't. I really don't. I get overwhelmed. And usually I only stick to stuff I already know. So yeah, it's too much. Too much choice, too many decisions I would have to make. And I'd rather not do them because it's just too much. And so I stick to the trusty old stuff I already know is good or I like it, and rarely venture outside of that bubble I created for myself. And that's to my own detriment because I'm not exploring stuff, I'm not finding new stuff that I might like, I'm not really using the information we have at our fingertips, I'm not using it to improve my life or learn new things about stuff I'm unfamiliar with, because there's this inherent hurdle of sifting through the huge amount of content or media in general that exists on the internet right now, and it keeps growing and growing and growing, and it's so overwhelming that I don't make use of it. Maybe you do it differently, but my guess is that the majority of people indirectly feel the same way like I do. I could be wrong, of course, but it's my guess. It's my guess. So yeah, I live by the idea of too many options is not healthy, so I gotta impose limitations on stuff so I can just be happy, you know? Be happy, make use of my time, make use of my attention span and stuff like that. You know? Yeah, I think that made sense, right? I just wanted to really, I think I talked about this a long time ago on this channel already, so I wanted to relitigate this one as well, because, well, it's perfect perfect fit for this video. So yeah, just wanted to let you know. If you're struggling in life, try to take away some of your freedom by limiting your choices, the choices you can make, and see if it helps you in the long run feel happier, or if it helps you, advance in whatever you're stuck at currently. Try it and see. And if it doesn't work, you can always go back. But definitely try and see. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, well, then you gotta keep looking. But for me, it definitely works.
More and more with games like Lost in Vivo, Nun Massacre, or Night of the Consumers. There's something about these games having dated graphics that scare me more than if they were regular horror games.
I feel the same way.
This one's horror style cements the fact that I'm nowhere close to real life. Instead of a broken, savage, unrecognizable world. Power Drill Massacre is one game that uses this PS1 era horror style perfectly. The game uses several elements that are reminiscent of classics from the PS1 like Resident Evil or Silent Hill. The game utilizes the fixed camera that were a staple of the early Resident Evil games. This gives the player a limited view of their surroundings.
But again, look at this. I feel like they get very close to, for example, Silent Hill 2 on the PS2, but it's still not quite there. I can't really put my finger on it, but it feels still too realistic. While the old, especially PS1 games, made no sense design-wise. The giant bushes that are perfectly cut and stuff like that, it doesn't make sense, does it? That does not make sense, no? Chains on walls? The walls being made out of chains? Like, what? Where's the logic in that? Two-dimensional, corpses fucking flattened onto the wall like a texture? That doesn't happen in real life. That's what the modern games that try to emulate that style, I feel like, miss. The really kind of abstract way textures and primitive models and stuff like that were used in the older games. And that's how I feel about it. It gets close, but it looks still too realistic, in my opinion. Even though everything is pixelated and, simplified geometry and stuff like that. But they really gotta nail that aspect of not everything making quite that much sense when you compare it to reality. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I'm even saying myself. It's so fucking hot today. I'm sweaty, but I think I made sense, right? Come on, just tell me. Just tell me that I explained it so I can move on. Thank you. All right, okay, you're a good penis. You're a good penis. Let me give you a smooch. There you go. This one is free. This one is on the house.
And creates a sense of tension and uncertainty as they navigate through the environment. And the game's controls are intentionally clunky and awkward, which is another hallmark of the early PS1 era of horror games. This makes it difficult for the player to maneuver. It creates a sense of vulnerability and helplessness. The game also has intentionally low resolution and grainy graphics, which is reminiscent of the early days of 3D gaming. This adds to the overall sense of unease and creates a feeling of detachment from reality. The stories, however, are admittedly cheap. This would normally be criticism, but given the fact that this is supposed to be a play on 80s slasher films, it makes sense that the game's scares come from more shock at a sudden loud noise rather than a slow burn terror. Its scares are a result of what it's trying to replicate, and I think it works.
I think Puppet Combo does some really good stuff. They make some really good games, but it's not to my liking because I like horror if it's not right in your face, but more in the atmosphere. Just the way everything is designed, the sound design can really creep me out if it's done right. The music choices, the environment design, the enemy design, just the atmosphere alone, the ambient tracks. And Puppet Combo is more like in your face, like like that. It's not the style I like, but I can definitely admit they make some really good games. They are good company. Yes.
It's wonders for the game's overall presentation. However, these PS1 era graphics go beyond games you can play. Petscop is a web series that takes the aesthetic of the PS1 era of gaming
We're talking about Petscop
into a horror masterpiece. The series is presented as if it's a display of an obscure and unfinished game called Petscop, which was supposedly created in the late 1990s. The game itself has an eerie and unsettling atmosphere, which is amplified by the fact that the gameplay is glitchy and distorted. The genius.
That's also, Petscop is also the thing I just talked about. Like, it does not use the jump scare type horror to really unnerve you. Instead, it's more environmental storytelling, or the storytelling in general, that's creeping you out and scaring you and stuff like that. And that's it's just what I talked about. I think Petscop does that really well. It's unfortunate that it's not actually a game. It's a video series. But yeah, it does it well. I like that. I like this horror. Yeah, very nice horror. Very nice. Makes my small pee-pee hard and even smaller. Hell yeah.
The Petscop lies in the ways it uses the PS1 aesthetic to create a sense of nostalgia and unease. The graphics, sound effects, and music all evoke memories of playing games on the...
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Tombi, or whatever it was called, Tomba.
...are distorted. The music is slowed down, and the sound effects are often dissonant and unsettling.
Yeah. That's some good stuff.
This also extend to actual games from back in the day, such as the original Doom. You may be wondering why this up.
True.
After all, Doom is about ripping and tearing through hordes of demons whilst grinning ear to ear. What does this have to do with nostalgic horror? While the combat was fun and enjoyable, I always felt a sense of foreboding while playing Doom. Like I was trapped in a place so alien and absolutely incomparable to the world I lived in.
Yeah, so abstract.
Human left alive in a world filled with monsters, corridors lined with tortured souls. All of this dread in the environment made the world of Doom feel unsettling. The low fidelity graphics also help cement the fact that I'm in a world where nothing makes sense. A world so far from reality that it almost feels incomprehensible by human standards, which adds to the horror of the overall game, intentionally.
That's what I just talked about,
because this concept of a more horror-driven Doom was explored more in Doom 3. Some loved it and some hated it. I
did not like it.
However, the newer...
Oh yeah, that's interesting. We both said the exact opposite at the same time. I personally didn't like it. It's just the early 3D-ish. It just feels so plastic. It looks so plasticky, and I felt like it did not really creep me out too much. It's just too much machinery for my taste. Too much machinery. I like the more outlandish, experimental, abstract type of stuff, like the other worlds in Silent Hill games, or the absolute insanity that is the Insane Asylum in Outlast 1, or let me think. My brain is working a lot slower today, so give me a second. The dirty, dark alleyways and really dilapidated buildings and stuff like that in Manhunt, for example. The old-timey and kind of nonsensical interior design of Amnesia, the cellars and it being a castle, but the layout kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense most of the time. It feels more like kind of random, mainly because of the dilapidation of the building being very broken down and old-timey and stuff like that. But yeah, spaceship stuff, I find it not spooky. Let me think. Yeah, I agree with myself. I agree with you, Aceox. I agree with you. You know what's right and what is wrong. Nah, but even the games I like Alien Isolation or Dead Space, they take place in spaceship stuff, machinery everywhere in space, and Prey also. And I don't find that, I don't find that scary. Even if it's bloody and gory and chunky and rusty and everything, I feel like the whole sci-fi angle just takes me out of the horror experience in general. Even though I like those games I just mentioned, but yeah, in Doom, it just didn't. In Doom 3, it just didn't work for me. It just did not. It did not compute in my brain. It did not make me scared, and the gameplay was too clunky to entertain me. That's why I don't really like Doom 3. He apparently likes it, so let's hear if maybe he's gonna give us a reason. Maybe I'll change my mind, but probably not. I never liked Doom 3. It's just it's not my game, not my type of game.
Doom games don't seem to follow in the original's footsteps. Despite loving Doom Eternal, I never really cared about the environment or the atmosphere of the game. All I did was rip and tear, which admittedly was really fun, but I never got the feeling I did from the original Doom. That is until I played.
Oh yeah, Dusk. That's really good.
In the rise of a new kind of shooter known as boomer shooters.
And that's an example of games that for some reason kind of get it right. While the slow, methodical horror stuff, like where you walk around a lot, is kind of gets the aesthetic feeling of the older horror type games, but it can't, in my opinion, can't get it quite right. But the boomer shooters, especially Dusk and the games like that, they kind of nail it. They kind of nail it almost perfectly, and they also kind of add stuff on top of it to improve the overall experience. And it doesn't feel out of place. It feels right at home. It's kind of weird how that works. It's really something. It's really something.
They take inspiration from older games such as Doom or Quake, and they're a lot of fun. And some of them even use the same smudgy graphics of the classics. But unlike boomer shooters like Ultra Kill, Dusk doesn't use its late 90s graphics to make you feel nostalgic. It uses it to scare you. Just like the PS1 horror style, the game's old graphics help cement the idea of a hostile foreign world incomparable to your own, as if you're trespassing into a place no human should be. These old graphics also assist in the first place. Dusk's roots clearly lie in cosmic horror. The old graphics of Dusk help to make the world feel inhumane and unreal. Not only do the old graphics perfectly capture the aesthetics of late 90s shooters, but they also allow the player's imagination to run wild. And when your imagination runs wild, it'll always find something to scare you. The early levels in the town of Dusk slowly transition into torture chambers and finally into eldritch abstractions. I don't think any of this transition thing would work without the old graphics.
Yeah, I agree completely on that point, because I think the old graphics are the glue that keeps everything together in the case of Dusk. If they used modern graphics, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be anywhere close to achieving what it wanted to achieve. So it's a good thing they stuck with the old-timey graphics, and that's why I think the remaster stuff, like for example with Oblivion, it's cool for a couple hours to see a game I really enjoyed playing for a long time and a long time ago with updated modern graphics, but it just does not compare to the original. You know, even though the original had some really shit graphics, you know, with the character models and everything, and kind of everything felt plasticky, but it had color, it was vibrant, it was fantastical, which in a fantasy game is exactly what you want to achieve, right? But with so many particle effects nowadays in these fantasy games, it just doesn't feel like fantasy to me anymore. It feels more like sci-fi fantasy, kind of. I can't really put it in words, but I think that making stuff realistic is really to the detriment of a lot of games. I think a lot of games would benefit a lot more from going back in terms of graphic fidelity and stuff like that. And I think one that made it actually kind of work was the Crash and Sane trilogy, because they used a cartoony style, but also a more realistic cartoony style. Like the cartoony style, but upgraded with more details and everything, but not trying to be realistic. No, it tries to be cartoony, and I think that's perfect. I think that's what a lot of games can benefit from, taking an old style and just adding on top of it, not making it realistic. Making everything realistic, just it does not work, especially in fantasy stuff that like Oblivion. It's not supposed to be a gritty, dark, realistic game, right? A medieval sort of fantasy epic thing. No, it's more like I always imagined it to be like a from a song of a legend with very flowery descriptions, very epic and beautiful ways to describe the triumph over evil, the triumph of good over evil and stuff like that. And the Oblivion Remastered obviously just makes it all realistic, and it's cool for a couple of seconds, minutes, maybe even couple hours, but I'd rather go back to the original than the remastered anytime soon, because aesthetics really fucking matter. But I feel like games nowadays, a lot of games don't realize that or ignore it on purpose, neglecting the aspect of giving each game its own style, its own vibe, basically. I call it the Unreal Engine shit. Because Unreal Engine, you know, it makes it so easy to make everything look realistic, and you can even build a nice looking realistic world, even if you have not much experience with level design or just world design or anything in general, because the assets you can use are just there's so many, and that's the thing. Back in the day, they had to make mostly their own assets, and I feel like that's what helped make those games stand out and be their own thing rather than be one of many. Because because it was unique in a way. Every game had its own sort of style back in the day. Now everything just blends together. That's why in my music I decided, even if I should have success at some point with my music, I'll keep making my own beats, because it's really custom. It's very customized. It's not just my lyrics and my vocals are customized, but also the beat I made, and the mixing and mastering I made, and the music video I made, and the cover art I made. It's exactly the way, or maybe not exactly, but it's closer to the way I want it to be than it could ever reach or hope to be if I employed someone to do that, or, you know, commissioned someone to do that sort of stuff, like a beat, for example. So yeah, I think it matters a lot, but I don't know, the gaming industry kind of doesn't really, at least the AAA gaming industry doesn't really understand that or don't care. I don't know which one it is, maybe even a mix of both, but yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking, because I can only play so many times the same old game over and over again until it gets stale, and just give me more. That's what I'm trying to say. Give me more of the old stuff. Make old stuff part 2. Do that. Go back to the old times. Make another game in the series of an old game, and then bring it here in the future. And yeah, the bars. AceoX is spitting bars again. Damn, makes my PP rock solid. Makes my PP hard like flint. Now all you gotta do is slap some flint together and stones and stuff, and it's gonna sparkle. It's gonna sparkle, my dick. Yeah? Let's continue. I've yapped on way too much already.
These old and nostalgic graphics have always found a way to be prevalent and scary in every single corner of the horror genre, which I think is another reason that images like these are more than just nostalgic. They make me feel things I can't explain. The old version of Minecraft is more than just a source of nostalgia. It evokes an unexplainable sense of liminality. Clearly, I'm not alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Nostalgia can be terrifying. There's a reason why you can find countless works of nostalgia horror all across the internet. The rise of nostalgia-based horror media has provided a unique and relatable form of horror for many people. By tapping into our collective memories of childhood experiences, creators have found a way to make their works resonate with a wide audience. Whether it's the clunky controls and low-resolution graphics of early PS1-era horror games, or the unsettling imagery and music of analog horror videos, these works evoke a sense of nostalgia while also inducing fear and unease. These nostalgic horror works demonstrate the power of constraints to inspire creativity. By embracing the limitations of outdated technologies and aesthetics, creators have found new ways to terrify audiences. And as technology
that's true.
Our collective memories shift to new eras, it's likely that new forms of nostalgic horror will emerge, offering a fresh take on the genre, while tapping into our shared experiences of growing up in the digital age. So if you have the opportunity,
it's kind of exciting to see where this is all going to go.
You may be surprised to find the experiences more disturbing than you remember.
Yeah. Look, there's Herobrine. It's good. You know, just looking at the stuff, it gets your imagination going. And that's something, you know, realistic graphics can't really do. Because it's already showing you what your mind would have made up for you and made it 10 times scarier. So yeah, okay, this was the nostalgic horror making your memories scary by Crescendex. It was a good video. I don't know why he doesn't seem to like this video. I think it was still really good. I mean, I could tell that it wasn't as polished as his newer works, like for example the audio quality, but still, I mean, damn, bro, this was good. This was good. Don't be so hard on yourself. This was actually really good. So yeah, I think I've yapped on for way too much already, so I'm not gonna continue yapping. I need to take a break. It's so hot today. It's unbelievable. I hate it. I hate summer. I fucking hate summer, man. As a puffer fish, I'm drying out easily, and that's not good. That's not good. I like being wet. Get it? Yeah, you do. I know you do. Alright, so, yeah, that was a video. Before I end this video, like always, go into the video description, click the first link in the video description under the credits tab to get to the original video by Crescendex. Leave him a like, leave him a comment, tell him, dude, that Herobrine was staring at you from the fog. Run! Please save yourself, Crescendex, please! Tell him that. And obviously subscribe to him. He deserves it. He makes some really good videos. Even his old videos are good. So don't be too hard on yourself, Crescendex. This video was good. You make some really good videos. You made some very good videos. You still make some very good videos. And I am certain you're going to continue making very good videos. So yeah, don't be too hard on yourself. This was very good and very thought-provoking. Alright, so I promise that I'm going to start commenting, following my own advice, my own demands I'm imposing onto you every time I react to stuff and put my money where my ass is. So let's go down and let's write something nice. Let's see. Yo, Sendex, this was great. Don't be so hard on your old videos. Bro, this was really good and thought-provoking. Keep up the good work. And remember, the small PP gang always got your back. Smiley and comment. There we go. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, that's me. Look, that's me. Oh my god. Alright, so yeah, that was that. Like, goddammit, what is wrong with me, man? Man, this was long. I talked way too much. I had too much to share. Yeah, let's continue. In my comment section below, tell me what you want me to react to next. Maybe another video by Crescendex, maybe by someone else, for something else, about something else, whatever. You name it, I'll do it. I'll do you, you do me, I'll do them, and them do us. Us they do. Homie, why are you fucking joking Bart again? Homie? But yeah, let me know. But try to make it specific by giving me a title, for example. A video title, because if it's about a topic I'm unfamiliar with, I don't know what to look out for. I don't know what's good and what isn't. So help me out in that regard. Or I can pick out something myself, like I've been doing mostly on this channel so far. And so far, I'm having the perfect track record. So just saying. No need to be jealous. You'll never have a perfect track record like me in that regard. Get fucked, viewer. So yeah, I can do that. I can do both. You just let me know which one you prefer, and I'm happy to oblige either way. Alright, this has been the Small Penis Man. Small Penis Man out. I wonder if my pee-pee is like my poo-poo. Then does it mean that my poo-poo is like my pee-pee? Think about that. Really think about that. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? Huh? My pee-pee is my poo-poo. Then is my poo-poo my pee-pee? But what about them farts? What about the vajayjay, huh? What about the anus? The anus is where the food leaves your body in the form of poo-poo. And your mouth is the hole in your body where the food goes in. Think about that. What if the anus was the mouth and the mouth was the anus? Now wouldn't that be something, huh? What? You think I'll give you a point to this whole shtick I'm doing here? No. It's a mystery of life, like everything else is. I don't explain myself when I'm like this. Fuck you. Did you really expect me to make sense of my own madness? Yeah, right, buddy. Yeah, right. Who the fuck you think you are, huh? I am Acex, but who are you? Think about that, huh? Think about it the next time you call me out for being random, for the sake of being random. Alright? And really think about it. If the mouth and the poo-poo hole were flipped, then what the fuck you gonna do, huh? Would that mean we'd kiss with our asses and fart with our mouths? Think about that. Is a blowjob the same as anal sex? Right? Right? You see what I mean, right? And on that note, if you switch the hole in your left ear with the hole in your right ear, would it still be the same? Would it still be the same when you fart out of your mouth? Really think about that. Really dig deep into the anus and find the answer. And if you found the answer, let me know, because I have no fucking clue what the fuck I'm talking about. God damn it. Like always, I don't make any sense. Even to myself. It's my curse. Bye.